again, my name is Gabe Zolna. You know, you've heard me say this numerous times, and I make reference to the pieces of the puzzle. And then I sort of try to explain how various pieces all fit together and they paint a certain picture. And the picture that they paint, I believe, is frightening. Well, let's just review the facts. When the Obama administration decided that it was time for Mubarak to be replaced, I believe what they did is they created a lot of controversy in Egypt, and they sort of stirred the pot, if you know what I mean. They got the Muslim Brotherhood out there, and the Brotherhood said, well, yeah, we don't want to do this, we don't want to take over power, that isn't our intentions, and what ended up happening? Well, what happened was our administration did nothing to help Mubarak. Absolutely nothing. Hillary Clinton did nothing. Nobody did anything. And again, I think what they did do was just keep stirring the pot until Mubarak was replaced. Now, who took Mubarak's place? Well, Mohammed Morsi. Who's Mohammed Morsi? If you Google Mohammed Morsi, you'll learn an awful lot about him. Google some of the things that he said about Jews, that he thinks that they're from pigs and apes. Google what he said about the United States, how the Muslim Brotherhood is sworn on the destruction of Israel and the United States. Okay, so now what does Obama do once Mohammed Morsi's in power? Well, he honors a deal that was put together when Mubarak was in power. And he starts shipping over F-16s and Bradley fighting tanks. Well, who do you think Mohammed Morsi is going to use those against? When Mohammed Morsi himself, when he got sworn into office, what did he say? He said that he's going to make Jerusalem the capital of Egypt. And he also said he's going to free the blind sheep. Okay, so now we've got Egypt under the control of who? Well, they're under the control of the Muslim Brotherhood. And that's the same party that said that they didn't want control. But that's who's got control of Egypt. So now let's go over to Libya. Well, we had Omar Gaddafi in Libya. And if you remember, when Bush was in power, he sent Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, she went over to Syria, you know, to say how much they appreciate our relationship with them. Anyway, so now let's fast forward. What he does is Obama decides that it's time for Gaddafi to go. So what does he do? He funnels weapons through his buddy in Turkey. And when I say his buddy in Turkey, the very first phone call Obama made when he got sworn into office was to the Turkish president. And what he probably said is, I'm in. Anyway, so now what happens is he's putting weapons into the hands of the rebels in Libya. Well, they're having a tough time because Gaddafi, you know, he had a lot of money, a lot of oil, and a lot of weaponry. So what does Obama do? Well, he launches an airstrike. Does he ask Congress for approval? No. He just goes ahead and does it. Now, that's really unconstitutional, and it is grounds for impeachment. But the problem is we don't have a Senate with a backbone, including McCain. Anyway, so now what ends up happening to Libya is once Gaddafi's out of power, the Muslim Brotherhood take control of Libya. And then you got that skirmish going off in Libya, Benghazi. And that was 6 months ago, yesterday. We still don't know the truth. Well, I think I know the truth, and I've made videos about what I think actually happened. But the American people don't know the truth. So now let's go over to Syria. Syria has been waging a war for the last 2 years. And according to the media reports that we get, Assad is killing his own people. And I've made numerous videos on this. Why would Assad kill his own people? Assad's been in power for 40 years with his father, prior to him. Why would he kill his own people? He loves his people. Now, the thing with Assad is that he's part of a Shiite sect. Now, the Shiites control the country of Syria, as they did control the country of Libya. But the majority of people are Sunnis. So they're being controlled by the minority. Obama's father, if that was his father, the guy that he says is his father, was a Sunni. And I believe that's what Obama is. Okay, so now what's happening in Syria is they've been waging this war for over 2 years. And the media tells us that Assad's a horrible, horrible man. Well, I made a couple of videos, and someone from Syria contacted me. Yeah. And he's given me a lot of information that I've posted on a couple of my other videos. Assad loves his people. Assad prevents the Al-Qaeda from slaughtering the Coptic Christians. If you notice, most Coptic Christians have left Egypt because if they were going to remain there, they'd probably be slaughtered. I think I read something where Mohammed Morsi had devised some kind of a tax that he was going to impose on them. Anyway, so now what's going on in Syria is that the forces that Assad had are obviously, they're well funded, they're well equipped, and there's a lot of loyal folks that want to keep them in power. So Obama's getting really frustrated. So what does he do? Then he can't do the same thing that he did in Libya by sending in the Air Force, because he got his knuckles rapped because Congress was upset that he did that without their approval. And so then he's funding the effort there by giving weapons and giving money to the enemy. Now, he calls them the freedom fighters, and he says that in his mind, he's going to support them because he believes that they're, the freedom fighters. Well, in fact, they're not the freedom fighters. This person that I'm corresponding with in Syria, he made it very clear what they are. What ended up happening was most of those countries that are trying to dethrone Assad opened up their prisons. Yeah, they cleared out their prisons, made room for the rats, I guess, and all these prisoners are now freedom fighters. That's what they are. All these prisoners are now freedom fighters. And then we've got our Secretary of State, John Kerry. He was that famous war hero from Vietnam days. What does he say? Well, he gave him, I think, $80 million. And now he said they're giving him training. Training. Yeah. They're training the Al-Qaeda. And they're trading the ex-convict, not even ex-convicts, the convicts. Ex-convicts means you've served your time. These guys never served their time. They were just released from prison as long as they're willing to fight. And, that's probably why they were in prison, because they killed people. Anyway, so now you got Obama. He's very supportive of the effort that's going on in Syria. Why? Because he wants the same thing to happen in Syria as happened in Egypt and has happened in Libya. Now, once that happens, which, who knows, if Assad gets thrown out, which he might not because Russia is there, and so is China. Like, they were both there in Vietnam, which is why I made the video saying that what Obama's doing now is he's creating another potential Vietnam. Russia and China weren't really supportive of Libya, but they are of Syria. Anyway, if he's successful in having Assad assassinated or killed or whatever, then Syria is going to fall under the Brotherhood. Now, the country after Syria is going to be Jordan. And after Jordan, where do you think Obama's going to focus his efforts? Right now, he's got a lot of his cabinet with loyal Muslims. Yeah, the guy that's the new CIA director, he converted to Islam, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years ago. He's an Islamist. Yeah, he's the CIA director. And who voted for him? A bunch of Republicans did too. John Brennan shouldn't be where he is. Obama has a number of known Muslims in key government positions. He's setting the stage, and people don't see it. This individual that I'm communicating with in Syria, he sent me an email. He said, we're next. Once the Middle East is done, the focus will be here. Why is it that the American people don't understand this? All you have to do is look around. The pieces of the puzzle all fit together. We are next. And what's our Congress doing? Nothing. Nothing. They're doing nothing. Where should the focus be? On Benghazi. Why? Benghazi's the key. If we can get rid of Obama because of Benghazi, the world might be saved. And if we can't, I expect the activity in the United States to begin relatively soon. And what I had said